Good morning. So, new cell setups. The last one didn't trigger. Prices went up. We're starting out with the Qs here this morning. So this one isn't one of the better ones, right? It's been stronger. And I'm not expecting too much today. I mean, as far as market movement. Um, yeah, yesterday was kind of all over the place, but overall, it's still trading range here. And so where are they at? In the middle of yesterday's candle body. You see they're trading the prior high. So it opens up the question, maybe can it make new all-time highs? Yeah, certainly in the realm of possibilities, but things have gotten erratic. Nasty down move into major support. Buyers step up, red bar ignored, goes back up, top of the range. Erratic, but strong still. Now, we know that price patterns, as this says, reflect what other people, other traders, what do they think? What are their expectations? So the expectations are changing, right? And the level of uncertainty is changing. How do we know that? Well, we look at the bars, the size of the bars, the arrangement of the bars, and we see that things have gotten erratic. So we're going to see, right, what happens today. I don't think we're going to get much of anything of significance, but of course, we're always going to see. The question will be, can it take out a prior day's high? Can it take out a prior day's low? If it takes out the high, does it push above here? And one of the themes, if you will, during the week was, hey, we got a big nasty red bar here. Does it follow through? Is it ignored? Does it trade within the range? And we're closer to getting an answer since today's Friday. And so far, we see it's a red bar ignored within an uptrend, and that's still bullish. However, the increase in erratic price action, volatility, tells us, what does it tell us to think? It tells us right now, this is displaying uncertainty. We've got a trading range. And let's see what happens if it begins to tighten up. That's basically where we're at. So as we look around, we see what are other markets telling us. So let's take a look at the Dow. A little bit more convincing as to a sell setup. Made a new high, broke major support, retraced into resistance, gap reversal day yesterday, wide range bar. So if it breaks the low, yes, it suggests it's going to go lower. Stop above the high. And we're going to see how far it follows through or not. So we continue. Right? Now look at the weekly chart. That's much more convincing. It's not in a downtrend, but it's a big, ugly red bar, and it's an inside bar right in the bottom part of the wide range bar, which is what we want. And so far, it's a topping tail bar. So it tried to go up. It got rejected. That still sends us into next week to see if the weekly trend follows through to the downside. Still in an uptrend. Transports. A bit even more convincing. Big nasty drop, violation of major support. Next support level is down here. Converging moving averages, 20 pointing down. Gap reversal day. Much more historically textbook type of a sell setup in an area of minor resistance where it broke down from. Very big, nasty red bar. What's wrong with this? Well, the only thing is it doesn't have a giant void. So a pretty significant support area down here, which is marked off in this green area there. That being said, stop above the high. Look for it to come down here, and we see where it goes from there. IWM. I like that a bit more. But again, look, so here's an example, and this was never tight like the S&P was or the Qs. It was more erratic on the way up with overlapping bars, and especially over here. But it broke out to a new high. It broke down below major support. So here's another nail, in a sense, a coffin nail in an uptrend where we look at different markets to say what's going on here. While something looks pretty darn good, well, it looks decent. The Qs, like they can break out. You've got other markets, like this was one that we were hopeful could play catch up and would continue to higher, and we'd see the breadth expand. Well, that didn't happen. And now we've got a sell setup, and it's in the middle of the trading range. So no one's too excited to continue selling after yesterday, which isn't unusual. So you got to watch out with these down bar days because, like here, look at this one. That was pretty convincing it would go lower, but it was in an uptrend. Now that this is starting to roll over, 20 pointing down, the 50 is still pointing up. So it isn't where everything's aligned, where we find something that is in a downtrend, moving averages are pointing lower, it comes up to minor resistance, you get a gap reversal day. So those are more things in alignment. Big red bar on the weekly, support is down here. So short-term expectations is more weakness should be coming, but don't get this idea of giant corrections, crashes. Put the expectations in alignment with what we see on the chart. So, well, get some downside movement down to support. We see where things go from there. And that puts us into next week. Spiders, trading range, gap up day yesterday into resistance. We covered that pre-market yesterday. What is it? Well, probably going to get sold into because the prior day was an up day and into resistance, weekly chart, trading range, chopping sideways, bullish, but we don't know whether it'll continue higher. Maybe it goes down today. Does it break today's low? So you want to have an alert for the beginning of the day, at least above yesterday's high, below yesterday's low. If it breaks yesterday's low in an area of resistance, look for it to go lower. I doubt it's going to collapse, but on a short-term basis, intraday, it could have a meaningful move. And here's the move up that was pre-market, down yesterday. Didn't come down all the way to the swing low here, but buyers came in that area. And so, hey, it's a new day. I got to say it. Look to the left. Just look to the freaking left. Where were buyers before? Something falls multiple bars in a row into that area, there's going to be buyers. What are you going to do with that information? Start looking at smaller time frames. Think about put spreads, especially if it's 0 DTE. Same thing. What's gapping up today? Is it gapping into resistance? Does it roll over? So right now, middle of the trading range. We're not going anywhere too quickly, one way or the other. Haven't even looked at the option table yet. All right, we're a little messy here. Let's spread this out a little bit. So yesterday, as things were moving down, right, in the room, I was like, now's the time to look down below 6,300. So generally, when we look at what's happening in the middle of a day, is it falling down towards support? Is it rising up near resistance? Look at the premiums and so on. So today being Friday, more options expiring on individual stocks, it presents a greater opportunity. And Dan, maybe you remember better. You can comment or whatever when you're on or whatever. There was talk, I think, last year about more stocks having zero DTE, I'm looking forward to that if it ever does happen. Um, but as far as today goes, we know it's up here. There's major resistance up there, major support down there, smaller support areas. I don't think we're going to go much of anywhere in a significant way today. I think, from my own thinking, and I think what most traders will be doing is just kind of let's see what today ends and going into next week, where we go from there with, a complete week over again and seeing how things play out. Um, so, and things are, let me just go back and see exactly where this was again. It came off a little bit up above yesterday's close. And so about there. And so this was from yesterday with the range, 14-day range. So the 5 days has been bigger, but you see how things have contracted. So if we go back and forth with that, if things were to rally, the furthest it could get would be up to major resistance, and that would be quite a run from here. So I don't think that's likely to happen. Being down here after a reversal day, if it takes out the low, have to, and then this is from where it is right now. But even if we go, hey, it's a little bit more room down below that congestion area would be great if there was, and I doubt very much there's going to be a premium down here, but let's see what there is. While I'm looking at this, other places that look more convincing as to downside, um, check that out. That's a bad sign. That's a potent bar. Financials. So that's not a very positive sign for the broader markets. And you see it's in the bottom of that bar. So prices moved so far in a short amount of time, even if there's weakness there. There's another chart that suggests to me prices are not going to move a really big amount. Whatever. Just forget it. You get the idea. And there's an unfilled gap down there. And semiconductors, they held up pretty darn well yesterday compared to many other things. And it's gapping up in the middle of that range, you can see. But you see what pattern is playing out for the moment? It's not complete, but bearish implications potentially for next week if the leading sector, right? Say we get a negative day, right? There's your neckline at major support. That would be one of the themes for next week as to whether this topping pattern actually breaks down, or sometimes, and we always have two scenarios when we see these head and shoulders type of tops, whether they flip back up again. So I have no idea what it's going to do, but that's a distribution pattern that I know without any doubt whatsoever. And will it break these lows? We'll see next week. Does symmetry matter? Only to the most efficient gurus out there that want to talk about such detailed things, because something that makes a new high and has a deep retracement that makes a lower high like this, however it forms, it's a distribution pattern. So human nature, we could talk about that for a half hour, but human nature is such that it looks to have these type of perfect patterns. It doesn't have to be perfect, but used to like things to the penny. Yeah, we all like to have things to the penny, and that's the whole idea behind Fibonacci retracements and Elliott waves. It's an attempt to define the holy grail and to ensure, right, you're never going to have a losing trade or ultimate certainty. It's not out there, but people pay for courses like that all the time. I did many years ago. It's like, hey, there must be some secret out there that someone knows. 62.95. Okay. Just go find someone who isn't selling indicators on the internet or doing some type of indicator analysis. 62.90. So that's pretty good. I get after yesterday's down day. So I didn't think it would be down there, but I, in retrospect, thinking about the size, the prior day's direction often will dictate what extreme will happen in the strike price because traders jump on um, thinking that it'll follow through. Sometimes it does. 63.95. All right, so above yesterday's high. So those are both good numbers to start the day with for sure. Being above resistance and being below this support. So some kind of down move, some juice increases down here should be no brainer. To you, Dan.
Good morning. Yep, happy Friday. A lot of gaps here today from earnings. One of them against us. We'll obviously take a look at it. Expedia. I did a couple others myself. But yeah, I have IYT here. Greg was talking about the 1, 2, 3. But alarms here and then earnings cores. Yeah, a little breakout candidate. Bullish weekly avoid. Yeah, looks like it can maybe head up to 16. And I had an NOW alarm. We only have a third left. Yeah, my 880 alarm went off right there. So I tightened the stop. Gave it a little more room, 882 or 5-minute high, but we only have a third left. Just protecting. Now, if this were not a momentum move down, then I would give it more room because daily, weekly looks lower. But I just want to protect our gains when we're in it, I think at 910. And I don't want to sit through a retracement. Those are all the alarms. Not many at all. Let's go right to earnings. Yeah, this QS right here we bought yesterday. This was a beautiful, it's a deep buy setup, but it's a retest of a buy setup with a void. Look at this 15-minute chart. It was an end of day breakout. So that was a perfect entry yesterday. All right, earnings here. Well, let me start with the one going against us, Expedia. We did a Condor, which was way out of the money put spread. I think it was I forget, 160 or whatever. No, wait. Yeah, it's Expedia. Okay, so, and we did the 210s. And so let's look at it, what we were looking at yesterday. 160, look at this weekly chart. Way down here at this pivot, these prior highs at it's above that. We did the 210s, and it's having a monster breakout to the upside. So we got to play defense on the call side, of course. I mean, ideally, it just sells off because that's a monster gap, and then we look to get out of the call side on a pullback and let the put side expire full profit. So that's my game plan. Rocket Lab, buy setup weekly, making the turn, gapping up. So that could be a great 30-minute high trade. Rocket Lab pins is getting whacked. That's a big old gap. Look at these horizontal lines. That's I don't have a bias though. I don't know what to do with it. When I say big ugly gaps like this and still has room to go lower and then at 200, that would be ideal. Let it sell off more. Get the rubber band cooked more. And then we'll look for a 15-minute reversal. Yeah, our YouTube is asking about carts. Give me a second. This thing 76, gapping up $5. This could be a short-term exhaustion. This could be a very very nice 0 DTE call spread. Even though I would never do it for next week. 15 is still bullish, but look, things that it's run from 58, now it's 78. That's a big friggin' move in a short time. All right, cart. I shorted the 44 puts myself. And so that I'm just gonna let it expire at full profit. I don't really feel like paying a penny. I have an alarm at 50, 49. So if it were to give up the full gap, then I'll close it for a penny. Just because that shouldn't give it all up. XYZ. We considered buying calls on this yesterday. Buy setup, make the turn. We had a long discussion about when to buy options, when to sell them, trying to calculate the lottery ticket. Is it worth the price that you're paying and the move that has to occur to overcome vol contraction? And I just didn't feel like paying whatever the price was for the 80s. But it looks like it would have worked. TTD, we talked in the room. Alex was considering buying the 95 or hundreds, and same thing. I didn't feel like paying the price for this pattern, particularly with the weekly, up so many bars. And that's just getting whacked. Well, it was sub 50 back here. This started another earnings collapse. So something's really wrong with this company. Gapping under this pivot, but I'll watch that for a 0 DTE put spread. If it sets up again, ideally, I'd like it to sell off for another 30 to 60 minutes. All right, microchip. We talked about buying puts on this. Pattern looked lower. Semis were weak. And so just for the fun of it, let's look, Greg, at the market open. You gotta, wait a few minutes. But the 61s were 85 cents. And so it definitely should be more than that now that it's selling off here pre-market. Still out of the money. But, being that close on a gap down, it should be more than 85. Goodyear tire getting whacked. Man, that's a big ugly gap. It's right here at 850. So I'll watch this for a put spread. 0 DTE put spread looks good. Pack B 143. It's gapping up over this red bar. You don't have a great void, but that's a nice gap shock. So that looks like a short-term low. If it holds the gap, of course. Munster, I was thinking of doing a put spread. I like this new low reversal. But I there wasn't enough premium for me to want to do it. Frog. gap. I know it's a bullish gap, happen over red bar. Wow, look at, there's some, you never know. Is this bulls dumping before earnings on some rumor of a bad news, or is it short sellers? But that's a nasty bar on volume. And whoever's still in it long, I'm sorry, short, is trapped. That's a big, big gap in their face. But gap's too big for me. Part we just talked about. This is an ugly gap. Sierra Golf. It's in a downtrend. Daily, weekly, monthly are bearish. It's ugly. They're having problems. Twilio, that's a big gap. So there's a lot of big gaps today. And so I don't have a bias, so I don't know. That's bullish, but it's too extended. Look at the 20 from the 50 to the 200. Just too extended for me, but that's been a beast. The team. If we can get a 1, 2, 3, this still looks lower all time frames. We were going to short that yesterday, but for earnings. I don't know if anybody in the green room did it as a day trade or not. I don't know. All right, GoDaddy. I shorted the 133s, and this is now weakening pre-market. So I got to keep an eye on them. Before I was bidding a dime to get out, but now it's down worse. But yeah, I'll give it 5 minutes. All right, I just had a Walmart alarm go off. That's a 1, 2, 3, bullish 15. That could be a day trade. It was 0 alone. All right, I got filled on something. Let's see what it is. Has to be one of my earnings trades. Oh no, it was something different. Situm. It's one of those things, Greg, that I got a free put spread yesterday, and I'll explain it later. All right, see this cart. Remember I said I was going to let it expire full profit unless it doesn't act right. So now, even though it's, let's see, which one do I have? I got the 44s. I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. I can pop the 45s for a nickel. So I'm just going to do that.
What do you explain that? You said you got the 44s. What are you going to do with 45s?
I got a free put spread now. That's what I was explaining, that what just happened in Situm. And so now I'll put an order out for nickel to sell this for the day. But yeah, I got to explain it, so I don't want to do it now. Busy. Wow, look at, hey, our Expedia there. Shoot. Nice. This thing was a problem child of mine. It's still going to be a loss, but it's a very manageable one right now. So the midpoint on the calls are 156. So I'm gonna bid 130 for half of mine. We sold them at 115. So it's very manageable if we get out right here, and it could turn into be full profit. So Greg, you were asking me, curious how we're going to manage. So there's no right answer.
Well, I find it always interesting how, and I've seen these trades that you've done before that go sharply against the position, and even though it is against the position, the strike that you would think, okay, if it was just a regular spread kind of thing, meaning regular, meaning no earnings, you're going to get crushed. And now the significant gap up and it's profitable, but it is falling pretty sharply. So, it's an interesting thing, when you option volatility and the volatility crush and all that. So, I mean, the way it's going down, it looks like it ain't going to stop.
Well, regardless, I'm gonna try to get up break even, just dodging a bullet, but that's why it's an interesting conversation.
Spiders are coming in.
Yeah, I don't think that matters for this particular trade.
So why would it be break even, Dan, even though it gapped up like that? It was the 215, 220, and now the way it's falling.
Well, break even with anything is what? It's you're exiting the trade at your cost basis. I just got out break even, so I dodged a bullet. Could turn in a full profit, but I just got out break even. But Greg, that's here. I'll post it again. Actually, you know what? It's a profit now.
I mean, I don't do these because I'm just not comfortable with that kind of trade, you know. But if I and I, I'm just not. I wouldn't manage it. Meaning, I would see something like this, I wouldn't close it, and
That's
it
it's
could go, it could go up, and then I'd be like, oh shit,
that's why we're having this talk. There's no right answer, but for
Mhm.
me, and I even told you this pre-market. I said I hope it pulls a Microsoft, which is the gap is sold. I've done enough of these. You know, just it's about managing the problems. But yeah, now you're in a profit. And now, I'm done with them. Cal Z alarm. We shorted a half lot yesterday, so my up alarm went off. Oh, my GoDaddy, I forgot about. I was busy managing Expedia. All right, so I'll definitely have a profit. It's just a matter of how much. And I just got filled at a dime. So I just closed my GoDaddy at a dime. I forget what I sold them at, but I got a nice closing profit here. VTEX, VTEX day trades long. Oh, that's pretty messy for me. TMOS. Well, why will it be at a loss? Yeah, TMOS looks great. Why will it be at a loss if it will sell off? Well, it's not at a loss, Alex. Look, look, here's. Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, so now it'd be a beautiful game. All right, so Greg, back to you and everybody else. What is break even on this trade mean? It's like with any credit spread, you sell an option for you, that's your premium, and break even is exiting the trade at the cost you got into it for. So that's why I said I closed mine at 115. But now that's the discussion we were having. It's a judgment call of how to manage it. Now it's at a beautiful profit. Beautiful profit. GoDaddy. Yeah, TMUS looks great. You got the Wednesday bottoming tail. So these are my other ones. Just FYI, because I didn't make them official, but I put them in Telegram. Carvana I was watching yesterday. That looks like that will, well, could be a retest. Still worth watching. I'll set an alarm. 357. US we entered yesterday. Was up, flopping around a little bit. Well, QS, yeah, I just sold a 9.5 puts or call rather for today. Um, Qs, Qs are on. Wow, Tesla and Google ripping here. 15 there, it's finally breaking out. You know, it's a big cycle.
Tesla's right at the top of that topping tail from a week or so ago, 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
no, right. But it was this 1, 2, 3, and my point is, it's grinding through these bars, which is bullish.
We'll see where it ends the day for me.
Google is strong, and yeah, TMUS, yeah, let's buy. Why didn't stop yesterday's low? Looks great. Let me check calls and puts. Yeah, my alarm Thomas went off on Walmart. So 1, 2, 3. Two 44.18. Oh, good. It's still holding weak. So now we can move stop 5 minute high. Perfect. The high is 882. Greg, I moved the stop this morning to 882 spot 22. Perfect.
Fast new high above the prior pivot.
Are you still in that?
Not anymore.
But you have it today?
Hmm.
All right. Well, it still looks higher. Why would you sell it now? Or all of them?
Friday. Greater than 100% retracement. Fine. Swing.
Right. All right, chime. Low alarm. This thing has been such a beauty.
Hughes coming up to the top of the short-term range here. Probably takes it out and then starts coming back in.